We need to stand together. The Reapers won't stop at Earth. They'll destroy every organic being in the galaxy if we don't find a way to stop them.
Go out there and give them hell. You were born to do this.
Build alliances. Gather everything and everybody you can.
Don't interfere with my plan, Shepard. I won't warn you again.
Go to hell. Each of you needs to be willing to die. Anything less, and you're already dead. Who designed it?
You would not know them, and there is not enough time to explain.
Today, we're going to take a look back at the Mass Effect 3 ending. I have recently finished the Legendary Edition. Every single Mass Effect game has now been recompleted by adult me. And man, what a ride. What an amazing series of games I have missed dearly, and I'm so happy that we got to experience them again, even if just minor upgrades to the graphics and additions. It was such an amazing experience and truly shows just how good Mass Effect 2 and 3 especially hold up so well. But they've also made me come to some realizations that I didn't have before. Mass Effect 3 is my favorite game in the franchise, I think. It's the culmination. It holds so many amazing payoffs. So many amazing stories are completed that we've been waiting for since the first game, that despite some of its problems, I think the stories themselves win me over. But that makes the ending all the harder to watch. I know the lead writer came out and said that he hopes that we can take a fresh look at the Mass Effect 3 ending and kind of come to terms with it in new ways, kind of learn to appreciate it. And I'm afraid after playing through it again, I've come out with mixed feelings. I don't hate it like I once did. I know when the game originally came out and we all played Mass Effect 3, we're all so excited. We get to that ending, we get to that last 10 minutes, and then it all falls apart. It's really that last 10 minutes, and I know people kind of turned their anger towards the whole game, and certainly there are complaints to be levied at it, but it's truly that last 10 minutes that frustrated us all more than anything else. And with that anger since dissipated, we can take another look at this ending with fresh eyes and try to take something new from it. So the Mass Effect 3 ending is weird. Let's just say it how it is. It's strange, it's out of place, and I think the biggest problem is that it doesn't continue the themes that have been presented from 3 games onward. Throughout these 3 games, we kind of expected a certain outcome to happen. We saw the Paragon and Renegade choices, and we generally followed that, right? So when the Mass Effect 3 ending kind of flips that on its head, it changes the themes that we've learned to expect. It changes the outcome, which can be a good thing, but it's a weird thing to do in the last 10 minutes of your franchise at the time. And it makes everything you've built up for just kind of seem worthless and wasted. The entire Mass Effect series is honestly building up to the Reapers, and honestly all about bonds, all about friendships that you've made, and truly the belief from game 1 that you can accomplish great things by coming together with people who don't get along, people who are honestly racist towards each other in the beginning. Just, you can learn a lot by expanding your world and expanding with those around you. And that is the ultimate message of Mass Effect, is that theme of bonds and friendship, which, of course, very simple, but they does it in a really interesting and fresh way with its alien races. So we spend the entire franchise building these bonds, meeting these characters, these truly amazing, well-written characters, and making sure they're kept alive, doing all the side quests, making sure we make every choice so that everyone gets out alive. And then all of that is thrown out the window in the last 10 minutes. I understand where they're coming from, that video games are art, and art, it can be sad. Art can make you think. Art is supposed to make what's expected and turn it to the unexpected. Unfortunately, Mass Effect is art, but it needs to be thematically in line with the rest of its story, or else it's going to feel very awkward if you throw it in that last 10 minutes. It's a downer of an ending, and while I think downer of an endings are fine, Mass Effect was never a sad series, and if there were sad moments, they were earned, they were well deserved, and they were generally outcomes of choices that we made. And especially by Mass Effect 3, you see those choices come to fruition. Mass Effect 3 is a sad game. It's been building up to this where the entire galaxy is on fire, running away, dying from the Reapers, and you're trying to just do whatever you can to survive. The entire series has been about taking those bonds, finding people, finding allies, and getting them together to fight back against an unknown enemy. And that is exactly Mass Effect 3, going from a squad to the entire galaxy, bringing them together. And it doesn't matter. It wasn't until they came out with the alternative ending DLC, which I don't know if many people played back in the day, but I did, that they tried to make your choices matter, that they showed pictures and concept art of what would have happened, or what happened with your choices. And it's obviously EA didn't give them much money to do that. It makes sense, it's cheap, but by then the damage was already done. And I would almost argue that the ending is worse with it, because by that point, I prefer the creator's intent, and we would have just learned to accept it like we already have, other than just this weird added on fake ending. But hey, I'm sure they were probably really pressured to make that, so that's not on them. I really wish there was some video, some little mini documentary on just kind of explaining the development and reasoning behind the ending, because it's truly fascinating to me how it turned out. I mean, was it always planned like that? I mean, the lead writer, Drew Karpyshyn, I'm sorry if I'm getting that wrong, left from Mass Effect 3 becoming too corporate. So there's certainly a story there. There's such an interesting what happened to learn about, and I hope one day we will, because it's such an important series, and the ending just is such a weird addition that has seen its days. But at the end of it, Mass Effect 3's ending just is boring. It's just bland, and it would have been really hard to make all the choices matter, to really do all that they've done. But it just hurts. It's such an amazing series, and you're in it, and you're loving it, and then you get to that ending, and it's just oh, that's right, it still stings a little bit. But I wanted to bring up the God Kid, everyone's hated focus. I did not mind the God Kid, actually. I do in my head, the God Kid is a representation that kind of Shepard's consciousness took on, that the Reapers kind of picked from his head and became that to be this kind of sympathetic person, that the Reapers just wanted to come across as this weak person. What I guess the idea of the innocence and how Shepard kind of takes that and how he reacts to it, which weirdly enough, not really at all strange, doesn't even question it. But the idea that just the Reapers are so ethereal that they just can do that. But even like when you're asking the God Kid questions, even after playing the Leviathan DLC, there is that one line, but it's like even when you're asking him questions, what he's telling you doesn't exactly mesh with what the Leviathan DLC teaches you. You learn a lot about the Reaper's origins and where they came from. That's the focus of that. But it doesn't add up with what he's saying. It kind of does, but you kind of have to do some mental gymnastics in order for it to make sense, which also leads me to believe there was a different idea to go with the Reapers entirely. I almost feel like the origin of the Reapers was written years and years before Mass Effect 3. They just chose to reveal it, and that's probably what happened. It just further shows just how weird the Mass Effect 3 ending is, that it doesn't even match up with its own DLC that came out. It's that 11th hour twist that just I don't think works as well as they wanted it to, because of how just weird thematically it works with the rest of the game, the rest of the series even. So people are bound to have issues with it. It just doesn't work well with the rest of the game, yes, but it's how it doesn't work well that is truly fascinating. So at the end of the day, I chose the synthetic ending this time around because it's the only ending where the cycle gets to break, and it even doesn't make sense that destroying the Reapers doesn't break the cycle, but yet it does, but it doesn't because the Reapers are gone. But the kid says it doesn't break the cycle because all the races don't get it, because they don't agree with how the Reapers decide that the civilization should evolve. It's very weird, and the synthetic ending is all based around forcing the entire galaxy to become synthetics regardless of consent. It's very strange and makes you feel very uncomfortable. So even the happy ending of the game makes you feel very wrong for choosing it, which is not great. The destroy ending would probably be the best choice still, but it still makes you feel bad because apparently the cycle isn't over despite what actually happens. It doesn't make sense. And the control ending I never actually got, never chose it, but again, that's probably one makes as much sense as the rest. The fourth ending, which was added in the alternative ending DLC, is so strange, but they almost had it. It's a beautiful line of just Shepard kind of refusing the God Kid and choosing our own fate, and then losing. Which, it's a cool ending to add, but really depressing. Especially how weird it is that after the credits, it turns out that they won after the next cycle won. So, what a mess. What a mess of an ending. And I'm sorry, writer. I don't think we still like it. We still don't like it. I understand what you were trying to do. I appreciate it, and I respect it. You know, we should be challenged in our art. I think video games should make us think, and video games should be tough on us. We should really make tough choices and have hard outcomes. It's just weird to build up 3 games for a climax that ultimately doesn't make much sense or go anywhere. So at the end of the day, my retrospective is that the Mass Effect 3 ending doesn't make me angry anymore. It just makes me sad. Thanks for watching.
I fight for freedom. Mine and everyone's. I fight for the right to choose our own fate. And if I die, I'll die knowing that I did everything I could to stop you. And I'll die free.